guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be about my process of applying to the internship. This is mostly for students who are in a nutrition program and are applying for an internship soon. So if you are not in a nutrition program, you can go ahead and skip this video, or if you want to know a little bit about my story, because I am going to be vlogging more about my internship process, especially since I'm starting it next week. I want to do a whole thing about how it is and, you know, everything I've learned in it. So it's going to be health tips and also vlogging of my life. So yeah. Anyways, so let's talk about DICUS. Nutrition students, you guys know how stressful it is to apply to DICUS. And I was so stressed about it. I was almost not going to apply because I thought like, oh my God, how the hell am I going to get in? It is so competitive. As you know, they only accept about 50% of the students who apply. That is sad, crazy, and really like, what the heck? So if you're feeling a little bit lost, listen to my story and hopefully it will bring some light into your life. And you know, and if you are not a nutrition student and you're like, why the hell do you need an internship? You just graduated. Well, because for you to be able to sit for your boards exam, you need some practical clinical hours, not just clinical, you need like some practical work. So you have to do 1,200 hours of supervised practice to be able to sit for your boards exam, to be able to then finally be a dietitian. How I applied is I wanted something in Florida because I live here and I didn't really want to move out. So I looked at the applicant guide for the internships. If you guys don't have it or don't know it, I will link it down here. I'll try to find the most recent one, but the one I have is 2017, 2018. So, you know, some numbers are going to be off unless I find the, you know, the most recent one. I looked at that and I looked at all the Florida ones. And then luckily I had an amazing professor who knew a lot about internships. I would go to her office every week. Sometimes more than once a week. Like, I would be there all the time. And then I would select the internships that I think I can apply to, and then I'll show her. And then she'll be like, oh, this, blah, 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 this, no, I wouldn't do that. And then she would kind of guide me through it. And one thing that she really, like, the most important advice she gave me is, even though you want to go somewhere and that may be your dream school or like whatever, wherever you apply, be so realistic about where you apply. Because again, a match rate is so low that you're paying for all of these applications. So just make sure that if you apply to somewhere, you meet and exceed all of their requirements. So not only meet, you exceed their requirements, and that you have an amazing bomb ass application. I was like, okay, cool, awesome. After seeing like all the Florida ones, a lot of them, for me, distance internships were out of the question, and also masters. Like there's ones that you do like the masters and the internship together. That was out of the question because I didn't want to wait anymore. I just want to do my internship. I didn't really care for a master's. I may do one later on, but for now, that's not my focus. So my focus was to get in. So I was like, all right, so all the ones in Florida, either they were like, the expectations were really high because I didn't have an amazing GPA. It wasn't that competitive, it was okay. So I didn't want to apply to those because you want to meet and exceed the expectations. And then the left were ones that I could, but they had masters with them and I didn't want that. So I started looking elsewhere and I spent so many hours looking through them. So that whole applicant guide is like 830 pages, I think. Something like that. It's definitely over 800. So I looked at that guide like a million times. I stared at it. I almost cried in front of it. I looked at the guide over and over and over. And then I started seeing, okay, fine. To be realistic, where can I definitely apply and get in, you know? I finally landed on 2 internships. One of them was in California and the other one was in Iowa. So I applied to both. Just a side note, the internships are super expensive. The application is super expensive. So when you are applying, I recommend only apply to 2 or max 3, because it's very unlikely that the internships, like if you say you apply to 5, it's very unlikely that from the internship side that they're gonna fill out their first, second, third, and fourth spot and then go and pick you. That's very unlikely. They're probably gonna fill in their first spot, their first choice, because remember, they're ranking you as well. And then maybe they'll fill up their second choice, but they're not really gonna go down there. So you're just kind of wasting money. And the process of it is Dicus is, I think the first application is like $40, and then the next one is $20 or $25. And then for D&D digital, it is $55 just to be able to rank those those internships. So it's already expensive. And also a lot of internships, they will have their own application fee. Like, this whole thing is a scam, seriously. So they'll have their own internship application fee. So the ones I had were $50 for the California, and it was $75 for the Iowa. So what I totally paid in just applications, not even like transcripts or anything, just applications, was $235. And I didn't get matched to those. Spoiler alert. Well, I picked Iowa as my number 1 and California as my number 2. And the only reason I picked that is because Iowa's living expenses were much lower than California, and I was already really stressed out about how I'm gonna live in such an expensive state and not work, because it's full-time, you cannot work. So, and pay for the internet, like all of this, it's just a lot. So I was like, let me rank Iowa as my number 1 and California as my number 2. Even though with California I had an interview and it went really great. So maybe that wasn't like the wisest decision of me, I don't know, but when you get that paper, it says you're either matched or you didn't match. I didn't match, but it doesn't tell you why. So maybe California picked me as number 1 and I picked them as number 2, or maybe they didn't pick me at all. I wouldn't know, because if you ask them, they're not gonna tell you. They're just not. So yeah. From that, that's the first match. So what people are not really aware of is that there's 2 matches. They're kind of like 1 week apart, more or less. So then the second match is when the other internships that do have spots open, that they're released and they contact you. So an important side note is when you apply on the D&D digital, you put that you are okay with them sharing your information, because if you don't, none of the internships that have open spots can contact you. So that's really important. So please do that right now if you have not done that. Any reason for an internship to have open spots doesn't mean that's a crappy one. It just means that whoever they ranked as number 1 either didn't rank them as number 1, or they ranked and they matched, but they couldn't pay the dues, because you have 1 day to tell them, yes, I am going to this internship. 1 day only. So if someone said, oh, never mind, I can't really pay this right now, or oh, I don't, for whatever reason they change their mind and they decline the internship that they've been accepted to, that makes the internship have an open spot. And each internship, they want to fill every single spot, because again, it's $10,000 to $12,000 to pay from us, so it's money in their pocket, so they want to fill the spots. Anyways, I was looking at the open spots, and then I saw a lot of them have master's programs, which still definitely off the table. Not gonna do that. I don't wanna do any more schooling without any experience, because even though school you learn so much, it's not the same thing as actually experiencing what you're doing. And I just felt like kind of overwhelmed with information that I'd never really applied. So for me, that wasn't something that I wanted to do. And then I saw one of my friends, he got accepted into a distance program. And then I was like, let me ask him some questions about it, because, everyone is so scared of distance programs because you have to find your own preceptors. And I didn't know anybody. I didn't really volunteer. I probably volunteered like once or twice. So I didn't have connections to dietitians to have or ask to be my preceptor. So I was like, where the hell am I gonna find these people, right? I texted him, I was like, hey, so I see you got accepted into this, congrats. How did you find your preceptors? And then he told me, just by kind of looking around, he did volunteer and whatnot, but then he's like, I actually didn't find all of them yet. And I was like, interesting, because I was under the impression of, you know, you have to have all your preceptors before you apply to a distance internship, and then that's not the case. So it is recommended that you have the preceptors set before you apply, and you're more likely to get in if that's the case, but it is not required because, you know, if you talk to any preceptor, which I'll cover more on the next video, they're all gonna want to see what internship you're with before they draw any contract. No one's gonna make a contract if you're not into an internship. So I was like, okay, fine. If he could do it, if he could find these preceptors, so can I. I'm getting into an internship no matter what. I don't care. I'm gonna apply. So then I saw his internship, and then I saw another one, and then the other one, I emailed both. I sent like 15 emails to like different people. And then I emailed both, and then I had to pay like $75, I think it was, for the application fee. And then the second one I applied to, she's like, oh, just email me your DICUS application, which means free. So I was like, $75, free, which one would I choose? I obviously applied to the other one that I just had to email her my application, which was great. So then after that, she reviewed it, blah, blah, blah. I think like after a day or so, she emailed me back. She's like, okay, I want to set up an interview. I was like, oh my God, yay. Okay, so I was like, okay, cool. So then we set up an interview. It was, so the distance internship is based in California. I obviously didn't go there. It was through the computer. And then she asked me a lot of questions. And then after, I think like a day or maybe like half a day or something, she sent me an email. She's like, congrats, you've been accepted to blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God. I was so happy. I could not contain my happiness because this thing is so hard to get into, and I got it. And I'm so happy about that. So my takeaways from this video is don't fear distance internships. I'm gonna make next video about how the hell I found my preceptors, because again, I did not volunteer. I didn't know anybody, but I still got my preceptors. So don't fear distance internships. And then also, if you wanna get something done, if you want something, you will find a way. Because I could have easily given up after I didn't get accepted in the first match. I could have been like, you know, whatever, next time. Or I could have never even applied because I had no confidence. 50% of acceptance rate with most of them, like accepting only like 6 to 10 people, is really difficult, and it's really scary, and it's really discouraging at first. But I promise you, it's not that tough of a process. It's really hard, it's really difficult, but you can get in if you are determined. That's my video for today. For the next video, I'm gonna talk about how I found my preceptors, and if this video is helpful to you at all, or if you enjoyed any part of it, please hit like and subscribe to my channel, and then I will see you next time. Bye.